since there are some like lines that are rather rated R.
We could do.
We'll call them rated hard.
I like it. But I just know, during New Girl, we try to keep it pretty.
Yeah, I don't think we need to worry too much about this. I mean, it's Die Hard, so hopefully there's no kids watching Die Hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like yippee-ki-yay motherfucker is.
Yeah, let's go on.
Prevalent in this
Let's
movie.
just say fuck it. Let's just say fuck. Hello and welcome to the fucking unofficial fucking Die Hard review.
What the fuck is up, y'all?
He's on the phone, or he's trying to dial in for police help, and he says, "No fucking shit, lady." Does it sound like I'm ordering pizza?
Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial.
Hello and welcome to the official unofficial Die Hard in review. My name is Ben, also known as Please Be Excited, and today we have some very special people with me. We have my regular co-hosts. We have Al Tribesman. Welcome to the party, Al.
Hello, Ben.
What's
Finally,
up, buddy?
Right now, and it has some kind of relevance.
Exactly. And we have Erica. What's up, Erica?
What's up?
What's happening? How's your weekend going?
I finally know how you feel.
With the
it's
hearing the echo.
I'm just a voice today, but I'm so glad to be here.
We had to have you here, of course. And in the bottom we have Vince Patel. What's up, Vince?
Hey everybody, how's it going?
What's happening, buddy?
Yippee-ki-yay. That's what I'm going to say.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And in the corner, we have our other very special guest, Philip J. Woodward. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing absolutely wonderful.
Nice. Phil's just consumed an entire thing of Red Bull. He's on a real sugar high, so halfway through this, he's probably going to crash. We're just going to see Phil asleep on that bed in the background.
That's set design. That's not by accident.
So welcome along, everyone, to the official unofficial Die Hard review. We are going to be talking about Die Hard. We're going to be recapping it. We're going to be reviewing it. And we also have some really fun segments that we're going to be going through. First, before we get into our recap, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the movie. So first off, this movie here is written by Roderick Thorpe. We've also got credited writers Jeb Stewart and Stephen D. Souza as the writers on this movie here. Now, I don't know did any of you watch the making of Die Hard and the movies that made us on Netflix? Has anyone seen that?
You know what? I didn't get around to that.
No, that's all good. Super interesting. Definitely worth watching. It's on Netflix. Definitely check it out. It's pretty interesting, especially with the first writer and how he actually came about, coming up with the script, the original script idea that he had for it. So he was in trouble with his wife. He went out and drove in a bit of a fit of rage. Just about died because he was on the freeway and there was a big fridge box on the motorway, and the only thing he could do was put his foot down and actually go straight through it. And thankfully, there wasn't actually a fridge in there, so he survived. And he's like, you know what, that fight that we're having was completely stupid. And then he had the plot for Die Hard. He's like, hey, you know what, this movie is actually just about a guy he's kind of an idiot, and he's just come to the realization that he's maybe made a mistake and needs to sort of patch things up with his wife. And that's kind of where he came up with that part of the movie. So super interesting. But the other writers on there, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. The movies that made us Die Hard. It's cool. This movie is directed by John McTiernan. So this guy, same thing if you're watching that doco, this guy just does not give a... That's meant to make a bleeping noise. It's not. Okay. Thanks, Bill.
No fudge is given.
No, so you may know him from Predator, incredible director, but yeah, hilarious if you ever watched that making of. It's great. So that's it from that side of things. Now, I believe did you have some information around the box office budget?
The box office. So it had a budget of 35 million and it brought in just over 140 million, which isn't bad going for 1988.
Nice. That's awesome. And Al, did you have some fun facts for Die Hard?
Yes, John McTiernan did not want to make the movie because it was about terrorists until he, in his own words, said he wanted to have some kind of joy in it. And that's, I think, where the comedic beats and that kind of thing went into the screenplay.
Yeah, they asked him like 3 times to do it, and each time you just watch that interview, it's so funny. He's just like, I told them no, I didn't want to do it. They kept coming back, they kept persisting, I kept saying no.
Add more scenes about cocaine, and then I'll think about it.
Exactly.
They came back, the script came back, and he was like, right, I'm on board.
Exactly. Oh, that's great. And any other sort of fun facts, or is it it's the main one? Phil looks like there's some cocaine over there. Oh, you got a fun fact, Erica?
I do. This was actually based on his novel called Nothing Lasts Forever, and it was a sequel to his 1966 novel called The Detective.
Ooh,
Get you.
nice. Oh, good. So we might actually just get into the recap, and then, like I said, then afterwards we're going to be doing our fun segments and reviews.
Hello, this is Al from the future. Just a heads up, we went a little longer than we thought we would with the recap. So before we jump into it, you can skip it and head to our segments if that's what you want to do. Just head to the 1 hour, 3 minute mark. Thank you.
So let's just kick it off. So, setting the scene here, okay? Christmas Eve, 1988. John McClane sits on a flight with a giant, extremely huggable teddy bear. Headed towards Los Angeles, a passenger noticed he's stressed out about the flight and that he's holding an enormous bear. He recommends that he takes the time to actually make barefoot fists with his toes on the carpet after he arrives to his destination as a cure for jet lag. Okay.
Can I just ask, has anybody, so back when the world wasn't broken and we could travel, has anybody actually done this? Because I tried to do it, and obviously, like, you put your toes in a ball and all the rest of it, no difference whatsoever.
Oh, I thought you were talking about trying to get carry-on for an enormous teddy bear. You can't get away with that shit. That's huge. You're paying for extra luggage for that thing. It's massive. But no, I haven't actually tried that before. No, I'll have to try that next time.
Fist with my feet on carpet. I mean, let me tell you, it does something. I don't know if it works, but it definitely does something.
Does it?
Yep.
Ooh la la.
I've never been on an airplane, so
Well,
I can't
when
answer
you
this question yet.
do, you know what to do when you get off the airplane.
There you go.
I will definitely. I did take note of that, though.
There you go.
There you go. That's good. Teaching us life lessons, Die Hard is, All right, so the plane lands and we meet Argyle, John's driver. He tries to fit John's freakishly large bear into the trunk, but ends up putting it in the back seat, and it barely fits.
Barely.
I told you there's a
Barely.
The film was shot in different times, and so were the jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
So Argyle then drives to Nakatomi Plaza, and on the way roots out that John still works as a police detective in New York City, but his wife Holly has relocated to California for a great career. Both John and Holly thought the other would bend and move to join the other, but they are both too hard-headed. Now, important note during this is that they are, and me and Vitz were talking about this earlier, pre-show, they were listening to Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis, which is an absolute banger and must be respected. So how does everyone feel about the song?
It's the greatest Christmas song ever. I'm going to put it out there.
Can't disagree with that.
I don't.
This is my new favorite Christmas song.
I don't really have an opinion on the song, but I just like Red Bull brain kicked in, and I was starting to think about the fact that like the dynamic between John McClane and Argyle, like what if it was done today and it was like an Uber driver, and then I was like, that's just Stuber.
Yeah.
It's literally just what Stuber is. Anyway, sorry.
Now we can make a whole movie based on what would pass as a plot device in the 80s.
Mhm.
His driver rating 2 stars. That's what mine is.
But yeah, they didn't even know, Ben, what the ending was going to be while they were filming, when they started filming this movie.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting. Was it,
I think-
so were there like multiple endings or?
I'm not quite sure what it was. I think they were working on the ending because there were rewrites, I think. So because the director points out in the commentary that the van that pulls up in the beginning of the movie would not be able to fit in an ambulance, which is just funny
Yeah,
little
Yeah.
to notice.
interesting.
I think we
I
lost
mean,
Ben. Right?
scripts definitely go through a lot of rewrites, even while there's filming going on. But yeah, that's interesting.
No,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think that there's some things about Argyle. Obviously, this movie came out in '88, and we live in a much more different time now. Now, a lot of his thoughts about women and equality wouldn't fly today and shouldn't, quite rightly. But his taste in music cannot be questioned. It's got to be said. But then, yeah, so this movie starts and it just shows. So you can smoke in the airport. That's a thing. And
Mhm.
you watch this movie in 2020, you think, huh, that's a thing. And like nobody says anything. And it's just like a common occurrence. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on in this movie, but it doesn't detract from how awesome it is.
Yeah, it's interesting to think both how long ago this movie was made, but also the fact that it was only 32 years ago and how different things are now.
But as we know, the 80s were only 20 years away. Isn't that right, Erica?
Only 20 years ago. That is correct. These were only 20 years ago.
Will forever only be 20 years ago.
Forever.
I think
And
we
I
all
did
feel that
was
one.
thinking about that. Yeah, right. I was thinking about that while we were watching this morning. That we all grew up in the 80s. This movie is younger than all of us, which is kind of cool. But we were all growing up at this time and seeing these things that were happening then just don't happen now, like the smoking in the airport and in the building and things like that. And it's crazy.
It really is. But yeah,
Yeah,
because now you'd think, oh, well, security would pick this up, would pick that up, kind of thing, and yeah, there's nobody cutting into the big bear to see what drugs he's trying to bring across the country. There's none of that going on now.
yeah, no checking for bombs or liquids over 8 ounces or.
So can we just pay special notice? So John McClane, married man, married to obviously the Holly Gennaro, who we'll come to meet in later on in this movie, but he's got eyes for everybody. And there's a scene which immediately stuck out to me. So he's getting his stuff from the overhead bins. He's walking out, and the look that he and the flight attendant share, there is some heat there. And I'm not sure if anybody else picked up on it, but yeah, certainly I did. And then yeah, he gets to the luggage carousel, and this young lady comes across, and she's just come from an aerobics class. She's dressed in white. She jumps up on this older man, and I'm not sure what the dynamic was there. Was it the daughter? Was it his mistress? What the heck's going on? But John's like, damn, California. And that's Die Hard in a nutshell.
Exactly. That's all.
Part of me wonders though if that was because like Bruce Willis himself was kind of really starting to take off and may have just slept with every single woman on that staff because like as we were saying earlier, different times, maybe that wasn't just a look of heat between the characters, but literally something that happened the night before.
Yeah. That's very, very feasible. Yeah, so in terms of the plot, so just to move things along while we try and get Ben back, is so Argyle's driving through and parks up at the underground parking lot of Nakatomi Plaza, and John McClane is like, right, so keep the engine running, and we'll give you a call if the estranged Holly is going to like kick his ass out, or if they're going to patch things up. So Argyle's like, right, well, we'll be fine. We'll just chill down here, kind of thing. And then Bruce, or John rather, he goes up and into the building, and we get this iconic scene where obviously it's an 80s movie, sorry, and you've got to fill it with tech. And he walks into reception, and you can't just ask for someone and ask what floor they're on. There's this tiny little computer screen there, and it's a touch screen. And obviously, I think all the producers at the time were like, wow, we'll put this in. It'll blow people's minds that you can dial up.
Can I just say this receptionist guy is an asshole, right? Like he's like, you've got to use the computer, and then afterwards he's like, everyone's on the 30th floor. Why did you not just tell him that when he walked in? Hey, look, everyone's on the 30th floor. Just get your ass up there.
Have you not seen a touchscreen before in New York? We could see that behind you.
He clearly just wants him to use that computer and struggle. Hey,
They wanted to show off that future tech.
Yeah, so obviously he tries Holly's married name first, and then we find out that Holly's using Gennaro, which is her maiden name. And then, yeah, Ben, take it away.
oh good.
To be fair, we're not too far off from the bad guy showing up, are we?
No,
From that
no, we're definitely getting there. That's all good.
Yeah.
So I believe this is the part where. Sorry, just bear with me. Sorry, might need to cut this bit out.
There are no cuts here.
We don't cut things out, silly. We clip them for Twitter.
Any embarrassing moments or costumes will be displayed.
Don't forget to check us out on TikTok.
So yeah, John McClane is going up in the elevator and then comes out on the 30th floor where everybody is, and it's an 80s Christmas party, and everybody's like about to. I think it's at the stage of that party where everybody's trying to be behaved, but we know there's only a few hours away before shit goes down, and indeed it does. For when the bad guys roll up, and then Big Buck comes up over the balcony, and he's like, we've had a great year, and then I thought he was about to say, as a reward, we're going to give you a really big bonus, but apparently they just give gold Rolexes to everybody. And that's how this company rolls. They're making that much back, but still, it's a good old time.
It's a very interesting about Takagi. The director was saying it was very important for him to set up this character because he's the one victim of the story. So I don't know what you guys think about that. Do you see any other victims other than Takagi in there?
Alice?
Oh,
I mean, it's
I've
Alice,
seen-
I don't see Alice as a victim at all.
who else is a victim?
I see all the people that John McClane kills in this film as victims.
to be honest, Hans Gruber, he died hard. He is the focal point of this movie. Much like
They made the
Johnny
movie
Lawrence in The Karate Kid, he was the Karate Kid. Hans Gruber died hard, the star of the film.
I feel like now I understand why each movie is called Die Hard. It's because every villain dies hard. I get it now. Thank
I'm
you. Vic.
saying.
Thank
so
you,
hard.
Vic. I've been watching these films for close to like 27 years, and now I understand.
It's a brand new perspective. That's all it takes.
No, just to be clear, I said 27 years because, I probably didn't watch Die Hard until I was like 5 or 6. I just want to be clear.
That's fair.
Oh, you waited a reasonable time to hear the iconic word "yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker" come out of the TV.
What do you think
Oh.
TV replaced that with? I don't remember on.
That's a good
I think
question.
it just got off at yippee-ki-yay,
Yeah, just yippee-ki-yay, and then
and
just
the rest
cut.
are just ADR'd out.
Sure.
TV edits are the best. So,
They really
so
are.
the party's off and running, and Holly gets brought in to run some paperwork and get her secretary, who's heavily pregnant at this point, to stop doing work and actually join the party. There's a line in here about whether she should drink whilst being pregnant, but it's the 80s. People brush that shit off these days. They're like, no, we'll be fine.
I was like, did I hear that long line right? I've seen this movie so many times. I was like, is she encouraging her to drink?
It's
So
fine.
the
fine.
party's in full swing. We've got Ellis doing whatever Ellis does. So he's creeping on Holly hard. And obviously that shit wouldn't fly. It shouldn't fly in 88 and it shouldn't fly now kind of thing. But this isn't taking no for an answer. There might be reasons why he's so bold and brash, but we'll get to those in a little bit. And look forward to some key product placement. That's all I'm going to give for now. For when this board goes out, I thought, right, that's a chef's kiss moment for a product placement in this movie. But yeah, it's at this point where the bad guys start rolling up, and they're in this big box truck, I think is the American term for it. And yeah, there's an unassuming truck, and it pulls out, and then Hans and his many goons, all with fabulous hair. It's got to be said. Hans must have a heck of a selection process when picking these bad guys out. He's like, no, you haven't got far too much. I haven't got nearly enough conditioner in your hair. Go back and do it again. It's one of these situations. So yeah, they rock up through security. He ices the dude behind the security desk, and then one of the goons dresses up like him so he can take his place. And Theo is our techie guy. And how do we know he's techie, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, he's wearing glasses, because we have to teach 80s audiences that
they've got to be thick glasses though, Vits, you know?
Yeah, glasses. That's
Yep.
They
So
can't have thin frames.
there's Theo, and then there's the other gentleman with really fabulous hair who works the phone lines. And of course, that's a technical job, so he needs a pair of glasses as well. So yeah, Theo hops off. He's there, and he's shutting down the elevators with some movie magic, because no way were computers that fast in 88. If speeds of my computers in 1994, when I got my first computer, anything to go by, there's no way you could turn that stuff off. But he's there.
I'm also surprised we didn't hear the computers, because let's be real, every single computer was audible back then. You could hear those hard drives.
That's it. So yeah, Theo's in the back. He's making some of the servers shut off as well. So if anyone was to dial out to 911, then it wouldn't go anywhere. And then to really finish the job, he kicks the server, and it all sparks in an 80s movie fashion, because that'll really get the job done. Because I think the actor wanted to say, I'm not just a nerd, I can kick ass too, fellow casting directors in Hollywood. Yeah. So meanwhile, yeah, the other techie guy, he's working the phone lines, and he's doing really intricate job. And then his buddy boy comes over and gets a chainsaw out and cuts through all the lines, because that makes sense. So John's washing up in Holly's private bathroom that she has with her office, which is a pretty sweet gig. But yeah, so he's got the iconic look of no shoes or socks. He's balling his toes up in a fist, and he's like, holy shit, this thing works. But yeah, so the Hans and his goons, they come out the elevator, and it's a great shot from above, where you can hear the gunshots, and John McClane, he's ready for action. He's there, and his cop senses kick in, and he's peeking outside the door. He's seeing what's going on, and then yeah, so he goes up to the 32nd floor at the end. So he pokes into 31, see there's more goons up there, and he runs up the next set. So he's just got his pistol, his New York pistol, which somehow he was allowed to carry on the plane. I'm not sure if that's still a thing now, but yeah.
Oh, it's totally fine. Yeah.
Different times.
Yeah.
So Hans is monologuing like all good bad guys do, and he comes out with some killer lines saying that the organization Academy Plaza, they've got a legacy of greed, and then they're going to teach him the real use of power. And he walks around, and he's scoping out all the elder Japanese gentlemen, because apparently the 80s, no elderly Japanese women are going to be running a business. It has to be an old Japanese man. But yeah, Mr. Takagi-san, Joe Takagi, he gets singled out, and Holly's like, don't say anything to begin with. But he's like, no, I've got this. I've got to stand up and protect my people.
I love this too. This cat and mouse. Like, obviously Hans knows who he is, and that's why he's reading out these facts. So he knows that he has to get up, because he knows what he's going to look like. It's a great moment.
Absolutely. So yeah, he gets led up to a couple of floors, 34, but all the floor levels, they don't really matter. But essentially, it's a really nice decked out office space, and he's got all the models of all the future products that they want to get into. And much like any good movie, he needs the access codes. And Takagi-san's like, look, I work all day. I got 5 kids at home. Do you think I've got the brain space for some CEO codes? I ain't got no CEO codes. So, and then Hans says how nice his suit was. And it was a pretty fine suit for the day, but he's not after jewels or anything like that. He's after the currency of 80s movies, bearer bonds. We've got Beverly Hills Cop. They're after bearer bonds, and we've got it right here as well. $640 million in bearer bonds. Now, to this day, I haven't got a clue what a bearer bond is or how you would use it. Or, if you walk into a bank with bearer bonds, would you just get laughed at for having like monopoly money? As you're walking in there?
Seems like they should be regulated, right?
But yeah, so Han.
I would just think you were a thief from an 80s movie.
That's it. You gotta have the suit. That's what it is, Erica. If you have the suit, then anything
Exactly.
goes. Yeah, so Hans ices this fella, and to be fair, he doesn't ruin his suit. And he says, I'm not going to ruin your suit. It's a nice suit. But blows this dude's head off. Everybody else loses their mind. And then, so Theo, he's there with his glasses. He's trying to hack into the vault. There's the series of locks that we need to get to. And meanwhile, Argo, he's chilling. He's chilling in the limo. He's got his music on. He's got some girl on the phone. Bear's got a drink. Everybody's happy down there. Yeah,
So real quick, I just want to interrupt and say that I don't even understand what a bearer bond is after reading this short description. A bearer bond is a bond or debt security issued by a business entity, such as a corporation or a government. As a bearer instrument, it differs from the more common types of investment securities in that it is unregistered. No records are kept of the owner or the transactions involving ownership.
There you go. Infotainment
The
on
more
this
you know.
podcast. Informative and
It
Whoever physically holds the paper on which the bond is issued is the presumptive owner of the instrument. This is useful for investors who wish to retain anonymity. Recovery of the value of
sounds
bearer
legitimate.
bond, in the event of its loss, theft, or destruction is usually impossible. Some relief is possible in the case of the United States public debt. Furthermore, while all bond types state maturity dates and interest rates, bearer bond coupons for interest payments are physically attached to the security and must be submitted to an authorized agent in order to receive payment.
See, now Hans should have just said that. So that
Yeah.
if I tell you what I want, and the guy sounds like, right, look, I'm bored to chat. Just take it and go. Take it and go. Just let me stop. I don't want to listen to any more of you anymore. So in the meantime, John McClane, he hears all this. He's up on the 32nd floor at this point, and he calls 911. But of course, they've got the lines tapped. So we get the iconic shot of he runs up to the roof and he sees the fire trucks coming. And then that all gets turned around, and John's like, oh no, what the fuck? Then we have probably the first fight scene when Tony, who has spectacular hair, he comes through. And can we just shout out? So Tony comes out and he's one of Hans's goons, but he's wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt matching in light gray. He's the most comfortable goon out there. He's making it work.
And those glasses, dude,
That's it.
Obviously we have our Patreon for the official, unofficial, and for people that are on there, that we love to do fan fiction. So I'd actually thought, what if they actually did like a prequel movie? And I wrote a little bit of fan fiction here for you. So I've got a Tony and Carl prequel story called What Could Go Wrong, an uplifting indie movie about two grief-stricken, down-on-the-luck brothers that run a not-for-profit orphanage. When funding runs out, they're approached by entrepreneur Hans Gruber about a job that could save the orphanage and the disabled orphans. So that's something you could potentially look forward to in a future official, unofficial Patreon tier there if you're a subscriber there.
That is www.patreon.com/official/unofficial pod.
There you go. So if you want to find out what happens to Tony and Carl in the prequel story, just head over there.
Sounds like the second season of American Horror Story, because there was a Hans Gruber doctor in it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
All right. So, and then the other note I had about our good friend Tony here is that because he is also wearing glasses, and why is that? That's right, because he's got fashion sense. There we go.
Yeah, he does.
So, so John McClane and Tony, they have a big old fisticuffs and fight up there, and then John gets the first video game upgrade of the movie where he gets his machine gun, and then he's like, right, I've got to send a message to Hans and all of his buddies. So he looks behind him and sees a Christmas setup. So he dresses Tony in a Santa hat and then writes the iconic lines, ho, 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 now I have a machine gun. Or switch that.
Now, I want to say this is the iconic Heckler and Koch Mp5.
Wow.
So it's a 9mm submachine gun of German design developed in the 1960s by a group of engineers from the West German arms manufacturer Heckler and Koch. The gun weighs only around 5 pounds and was chosen because of its sophisticated appearance.
Does it also say that it could support a man's weight when you like rappels down an elevator?
That's exactly what it says. That's
That
its
is
menu.
just German engineering. Okay.
Vorsprung technique.
Do you know what I love about this iconic scene is that he writes that now I have a machine gun. Why would he not write we have a machine gun? Like he's just telling them I'm alone up here. Why not at least be a group of people? You know. I mean, it's very badass saying that now I have a machine gun, but not probably terribly smart if you're ever in this situation.
Yeah. So then he grabs Tony's CB radio as well, which obviously he's been using to communicate with Hans and the rest of the crew. And he dials out to a 911 operator because the phones aren't working. And yeah, so we have two ladies at the desk, and they're operating the call, and they don't believe anything of what's going on. We have the second iconic line, or at least one of my favorites, where John McClane says, much to her saying, we don't believe you, or this line is only for emergencies only. And he goes, no fucking shit, lady. Does it sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
So good.
It's cinema history right there. But yeah, so that goes down, and the police ladies, they instigate the work of one of the finest officers ever to grace cinema history, Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah.
What's going on? And what do we see when we first introduced Al Powell? That's right. This hero is carrying as many Twinkies as I've seen every human carry, and he tries to pass it off that it's for his pregnant wife.
That's
is his
impressive.
wife actually pregnant? Is it just an elaborate lie that he just played off? And then, he started now, so he's just got to lie more and more, and he's telling John by the end of the movie, yeah, it's for a pregnant wife. We're expecting a kid.
He's doubling down.
This is it. We'll never know. Yeah, so then on the roof, John gets caught up with the rest of the goons, and they have a bit of a gunfight, and then he works his way into a ventilation fan. He blocks a fan with the highly engineered German gun and manages to climb through. So it's already the second time the gun has saved the man's life.
The indestructible gun.
Already.
And then he turns the gun 90 degrees, wedges it within the elevator shaft, and begins to rappel down. And we have this great cut back and forth in the editing, where you're seeing John rappel down, and you're seeing the gun go, and you think, oh, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? But it's just in time when the gun falls down that he managed to fall in the vent, and then he's crawling through the vent, and he's still got his white vest on at this point, and we get that iconic shot of him with the lighter, and he's crawling through the vent, and it's really tight, and he says, now I know what a TV dinner feels like, and come to the ghost, good time. I've only been to America once, and in that time, I didn't go in any air conditioning shafts, so it's got to be said. Are they really that dirty that you go in with a white vest and you come out with a filthy looking green vest by the end of it?
That's big as well.
That's a good point.
Sit under a vent thing at work, and there's shit falling out of that all
Good
the time.
Because
So I would say probably yes.
Good to know, Erica. I think my only reference is from The Simpsons, when groundskeeper Willie is like, have you got any grease woman? Then grease me up. And he's there, and he's crawling through in a little parody.
Now, Erica, would they support a grown man's weight?
I'm gonna go with no, and I just because I'm gonna reference The Office when they throw the cat up there during during the fire. Yeah, but I'm gonna say probably not.
Does The Office take place in Nakatomi Plaza though?
That's a solid point.
You know what? I've got a reference coming up for that. So
we've got German engineering on the guns. We've got Japanese engineering on the building work.
Obviously, yes.
That's it. So while he uses his lighter to light the way, Carl sees the light and then begins to fire his rifle up in the vents. But somehow he managed to avoid it all because he's a goddamn hero. That's what John McClane is. Yeah, so Al the cop, he's there. He goes, circles around a couple of times, and he's like, nope, nothing wrong in this building. And then he says, right, let me go check with the front security guard, who's obviously being switched with the goon at this point. And he walks in, and he's like, right, can I have a look around? He said, yeah, sure, knock yourself out. And this is set on Christmas Eve, I believe, this movie. And is there college football being played on Christmas Eve? Because Notre Dame is playing some other team. Right? I
That
thought
sounds
to
right.
myself, what if this team's on the road? Does this team not get back for Christmas? Is there a holiday movie to be set where the winning team has to get back home?
No, that's just Christmas in America. It's all about football and the game.
It just cuts to this poor little girl. And she's like, "Is Daddy coming home?" And the mum's like, "No, Daddy's playing football in another state."
And you just threw an interception. Pack your bags, we're leaving.
I had to figure out what Phobo TV was over Thanksgiving because we had somebody over that wanted to know if they could watch the game, and I had no idea what Phobo TV was at the time. Now I know too much about what Phobo TV is.
I've watched football and I don't know what that is.
Phobo TV is like the streaming version of TV right now, where you can get all of your sports games and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So then, so Al's not finding anything. There's a moment where he walks up.
Al, why aren't you getting any Twinkies?
Yeah. Come on.
Yes.
I mean, sorry. Why aren't you finding anything wrong with this building?
Mine's on the Twinkies. That's what it is. So he walks into it, and one of the goons is there with a gun cocked and loaded and ready to blast down into the middle of next week. But he just doesn't see it, and he turns around just in the nick of time. He's like, nope. John notices that he's about to drive off. He's like, the fuck, you ain't leaving here. So he gets a chair and throws it through the window like a goddamn hero. But yeah, so the glass breaking on the skyscraper doesn't do the trick. So he's like, what am I going to do? First, I'm going to have a fight with a dude named Heinrich, and there's going to be a tiny shootout, and then I'm going to throw his ass out the window, and that does a trick. Because he lands on the car. Al quite reasonably freaks the fuck out, slams it in reverse, and then he goes back and bumps his head quite a bit. And again, there's a note here that he fires Alexander, one of the other goons, when he's trying to stop the cop from leaving. He fires with an M60E3 machine gun. I'm not sure if there's any fun facts about this this gun right here.
Nope.
Fair enough then. Meanwhile, we cut over to the newsroom, and there's a TV show going there, and Richard Thornburg, he's an absolute dick. I'm just going to say it right here. His listening out for the police scanners, much like everybody did in the 80s, I imagine, to get that hot story there, and then so he can rush over there in the Channel 5 van. So John and Hans, they're over the radio and the intercom with the walkie-talkies, and that's where Hans is teasing John for watching too many cowboy movies, and there's some back and forth with how he likes Roy Rogers, and then that's how he gets the name of how he communicates with Al when he doesn't want to give away that he's John McClane and a cop from New York. So that's where Roy comes from, and then he signs off the call with Hans with the iconic line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." Cool ass shit to say.
So good.
Lots of iconic lines here.
Best line.
That's it. So Al's reporting it into the police, saying, "Look, this dude fell on top of my car. I've backed in my car down a ditch. It's not going well." So everybody's coming through, and Deputy Police Chief Dwayne T. Robinson arrives. And again, it's one of these where the first thing he does, he rocks up and he insults Al. And I'm like, this ain't happening. This is not the way to win yourself over to your audience. But he's there, and he's like, right, I'm taking command, even though Al has been having quite the chit chat at the moment. Hans is still there on the 30th floor. He's there trying to manage the hostages, and he's set up in Holly's office. And at this point, Holly's had some back and forth with John McClane, and has put the photo down. It's like, right, I don't ever want to see you again. But the other thing she's putting down in that photo, what do we see here? That's right, a crime against humanity, ladies and gentlemen. We see a bowl haircut on this poor kid. And now, is Holly laying this photo down because she didn't want to be reminded of the crimes she's committed? I think so. There's not all is well here.
It's an abomination, dude. It's so bad.
So
Really
to the point
is.
where me and Bits actually had some DMs going back and forth about it earlier in the week.
who's the real villain here? It's not Hans Gruber, that's what I'm saying.
There's a reason the divorce happened. You know what I mean?
This is it.
Even with the footage with Pauline, that poor kid's only in that for like a split second. Like, and it's enough to notice.
But absolutely. So obviously Holly's using the name Gennaro, so Hans can't put it together that John and Holly know each other. And it's at this point that Argyle, he's turning on the TV in the limo because he's bragging about all the features that the limo has. It's got like a TV, it's got a phone, it's got a VHS player. We're like, whoa, VHS player. But he turns on the TV, and obviously the news crew has got it down that there's a Nakatomi Plaza and there's some real shit going down. So he's like, oh crap, maybe I should do something. But then, I'm just going to chill here in the parking lot for a little bit. So he's got his CB radio on, and he can tune into John and Al's conversation as well. Deputy Police Chief, he's got there and he's set up the lights, which I'm pretty sure are going to get used next year in Batman 89. But he's got those spotlights. Just give him a paint job because these ones are white. Commissioner Gordon, he needs a black one because he's like, does it come in black as well? But so he's got the spotlight showing up, and John can always, he's already seeing that this isn't a good plan. You're just going to show where everybody is. And true enough, the goons come out and they shoot all the lights out. And it's like, right, well, that was a good time. Now, he says, so they try and break down the front door, and we see that the world's slowest armored car comes up, and it takes a good 10 minutes for this car to come and down the road. As a viewer, you're sitting there thinking, right, the van must be there by now. But nope, we get 3 other shots of the car just cresting over the hill as it comes nice and slowly. By this point, John has stolen a bag off probably the first goon that he killed. And that's got the detonator for whatever bomb they want to do. And John, at this point, he's pissed off. He's like, right, fuck this. So put some pins into the C4 that's there and throws that down the elevator shaft that he was climbing down and blows up a whole floor to kill 2 guys, which I think is a little bit excessive. But hey, what can you do?
I have a question. Do we know what John McClane did prior to being a police officer? Has he always been a police officer? Do police officers go through C4 training?
NYPD school, that's what they teach.
Just in case you ever need to do some C4 shit, here we go. Like,
so then, the armored truck takes, like I said, an hour to get up there, and then in the next instance, there's a rocket launcher from Alexander the Goon, and he just blows it up. And then, nope, the first it didn't do it, so he hits it again. Now, we don't know what happens to the people inside the armored truck. Are they okay? Who knows? But in the notes here, it says police in Thornburg look on in amazement. No shit. He's got an RPG.
Now, in classic movie fashion, no body, no death. So if we don't know what happened to them, they're probably okay.
Mm-hmm. And then back on the 30th floor, we've got our boy Ellis, and he's putting more interesting stuff up his nose, and that's how he gets some of the courage and speaks to Hans. And that's when we have this great scene where we've got Ellis and Hans, and they're talking together, and he's like, right, I'm a businessman. I'm going to negotiate this shit. He can't negotiate for shit. And then we have what I think is the iconic product placement of this movie, where the dude high on coke, smacked out of his head, is drinking a Coca-Cola by the time he gets iced. that's some beautiful symmetry there. But yes, so there's back and forth where he's like, I can give you John McClane, because he already knows he's met John at the start of the movie when he was trying to get with Holly, and John's like, dude, I'm the fucking husband here. What are you playing at? So now Hans knows what's going on, and there's some back and forth, and John is trying to talk Ellis out of not giving away the situation, because as soon as he gives the information up, he's useless to Hans, and as we see, he gets blown away. But he's got a head full of coke, so probably didn't feel a thing. At least that's my understanding of how that works. So now it says everyone else inside and outside the building is shocked. But so Deputy Police Officer Robinson, he's telling Al to go home, but he's like, no, my buddy's up there. I'm not leaving him.
Because now they're instantly friends.
Well, this is it. And he's ate all the trinkets already and has to go back to another gas station first. And he's like, I'm not making that journey again.
You couldn't drag me away.
So
Probably because of all the Twinkies. That's probably why.
that's it. So Hans is sending the police on a ruse. So he starts listing off names of terrorist organizations, which he hasn't got any contact with. But he's like, right, I need these people in Sri Lanka being let out. I need these people in Canada being let out of jail. And the police like, yeah, we can only do nothing but like bend down, obey to your commands. Meanwhile, the FBI comes up, and we have the greatest names in cinema history. We've got Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson, and they come around and they're like, Deputy Chief, you're off the case now.
It reminds me of the Andes in Hot Fuzz. Like, I wonder if that's where Edgar Wright got the idea for this, or for that.
Absolutely.
All right. Am I reading this next part, or okay? So yeah, at this point we have Special Agent Johnson and Agent Johnson. They arrive from the FBI and take control from Deputy Chief Robinson. I can't talk, guys. So then Hans inspects some explosives and then gets cornered by John. He decides to pretend to be an escaped hostage, and John believes it, which I always thought was a really weird part. Like, I mean, you just have some guy running around freely, doesn't look like he's had anything happen to him, doesn't look just like stressed or disheveled at all. He puts on some of the worst acting in the movie, in my opinion. And somehow is able to like convince John that he's just a hostage, which I don't know, it's whatever. Anyway. And then on floor 33, John gives him a handgun, which Hans pulls on him instantly. John tries to get him to reveal his plan, but Hans pulls the trigger rather than spoiling his plot. The gun was never loaded, but before John can arrest or shoot Hans, the elevator arrives with Carl, Franco, and Fritz, which are amazing thug names. John manages to shoot Fritz and Franco, but runs out of bullets. Hans, knowing John is barefoot, has Carl shoot the glass walls of the office John is trapped in.
He delivers that line in German to his goon friend to begin with, and his goon friend's like, "What?
What did you say?"
Glass. That's a great piece of acting from Mr. Rickman.
But yes, so now we've got glass shards everywhere, so that we can cut up John McClane's feet as if he hasn't gone through enough stuff already. They use a flash grenade, but John has vanished by the time the smoke is cleared. However, he was forced to leave the bag with all the detonators. Sad. Hans gives Uli the detonators, and Carl smashes some decorations at the Christmas party. Holly celebrates his anger, taking it as a sign that John is still alive. John slinks into a bathroom with bloody feet, which he begins to clean and bandage.
Well, this is it. He's not winning. He's not topping the WikiFeet list, and he's definitely not topping the WikiFeet list now.
I don't know, dude. People write all sorts of weird stuff.
That's true. You're not wrong. Theo informs Hans that he has broken through the first 6 levels of the vault's security, and he is ready for Hans to disengage the final electromagnetic lock. Thornburg's assistant brings good news to Thornburg. Sorry, this is a great breakdown. Telling him that she knows John McClane's records and his LA address. As Al tries to keep an injured John company over the radio, Theo and Hans realize the FBI is planning on cutting the power to the building. Theo smiles, realizing the electromagnetic lock will disengage when the power is cut. Special Agent Johnson instructs a power company worker to turn off the power for a 10-block radius around Nakatomi. The FBI celebrates. Robinson. I love how there's so much like fake celebration in this movie, like, or not fake, but like preemptive celebration, where it's like, really, guys?
That's it. I mean, he's trying to be losing his job. He says, if you don't turn this power off, your job is ended. Oh shit! Forget everything I swore when I took this oath.
Robinson worries that the mayor will be upset about the power cut. Al complains about the FBI's predictable behavior, and Hans and Theo celebrate. See, more celebrating as the vault opens. John asks Al to tell his wife goodbye should anything
I love
happen to
this scene.
him, but Al tells him to pull through it. Thornburg arrives
Yourself.
at Holly's house and threatens Paulina to talk to the children. John waddles back to the machinery room and finds the large amount of C4 wired to blow up on the roof. He radios Al, but is caught by Carl. Carl takes John's right now. We're going to be talking about Carl in a coming segment, right? Just for
yes.
some
Absolutely.
foreshadowing. Carl takes John's radio and gun, but John throws a punch and the two begin a fist fight, agreeing that it is personal for both of them. Hans
This
watches.
is all subtext. It's like, you killed my brother. You haven't killed anybody I know, but I'm going to kick your ass in you.
This time it's not
You're an
personal.
ass.
Hey, they made his wife ex-wife a hostage. Come on now.
There you go.
True.
Hans watches a small TV and recognizes the children Thornburg is interviewing. He then picks up the face-down family photo of the McLeans and approaches Holly. He fires.
Paulina here. The news crew comes to her door and she's like, no. Hasn't this boy been through enough? Have you seen his haircut? And now you want to bring cameras up in here. And then the newscaster is like, if you don't let us in, I'm going to call immigration on your ass. What kind of monster is it? Because she could have just said, yeah, I'll got all my documents right here. American citizen. You'll never know.
The thing that newscaster did was he had a line that said, "Eat it, Harvey," and that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
Other than that, this dude is an ass.
Yeah, 100%. He fires his gun into the air, orders all the hostages to the roof, and takes Holly with him to the vault. She chastises him for being nothing but a crook when she realizes he's simply robbing the vault. Carl holds the upper hand of the fight with John, but John manages to get some good hits. I feel like this is the Mike Tyson fight I watched the other day. Carl is able to get his hands on a gun, fires, and grazes John's shoulder as he escapes through a doorway. Carl follows, but John gets the upper hand. Again, so many upper hands, knocking the gun free. The two continue to wrestle and throw punches up a staircase until John wraps some chains around Carl's neck, pushing him over the railing. He then pulls the other end of the chain along a track, causing Carl's hanging body to zip across the room and slam into a wall.
The third greatest fear of the 80s. We've got lasers, we've got quicksand, we've got chains hanging from ceilings.
And wolves.
Yes.
Oh, man. Carl hangs from the chain. So sad.
It sounds like a rock band. Cow hanging from chains.
Why does John want to eat Carl?
Wait, what?
I just
Yes.
like the line in this part. He's like, he wants to eat him.
Yeah,
I
I'll
just-
cut you up, I'll cook you, and I'll eat you, is what he said.
I'm just like, why?
Do we need that backstory, maybe?
Yeah.
Try to figure out what's going on there.
We might need that backstory. We might need that.
Pretty sure he's been talking to a guy that knows Clarice a little too much.
Either that or it was on one of those planes that went down.
Oh.
Two Army helicopters approach Nakatomi Plaza. Special Agent Johnson and Agent Johnson ride in one of them, commenting that they plan on ambushing the terrorists and that they would be happy with a 25% hostage loss rate. Jesus.
A couple of stand-up fights.
They're real good at their jobs there.
This is where we get the line where Special Agent Johnson was like, "This reminds me of Saigon," and then regular Johnson was just like,
Yeah.
"Dude, I was like 4."
I was in junior high, dickhead.
That's the line.
Yes.
I was young. Just like Saigon, he's slick. And then he said, "I was in junior high, dickhead." Like that was fantastic. That was a great line. I wrote that one down.
That's awesome. Uli and Eddie usher all the hostages to the roof, and John shoots Uli as he chases the hostages searching for Holly. Ginny tells John that Holly is with Hans, trying to warn the helicopter not to land and to get all the hostages away from the explosives. I want to back up for 1 second. Ginny tells John that Holly is with Hans. I want everyone to say that 3 times fast.
Hey, her sister's been through some shit this evening. Not only has she had to walk up a staircase past the hanging body of a man,
Right.
and when she gets there, she's Johnny. Nothing like he probably hasn't got a vest on at this point because he probably tied it around his foot. But he's there with a machine gun firing randomly in the air, telling a helicopter not to come this way.
Yeah. John begins firing Uli's machine gun in the air. The hostages run back down into the building, but the FBI and the chopper begin firing at John. He manages to make it to a slightly hidden edge and uses a fire hose to rappel down the building. As he jumps, Eddie informs Hans that the hostages have returned to the 30th floor in a panic, so Hans pushes the trigger for the explosives. The explosion engulfs the FBI chopper, killing both Agent Johnson's and everyone on board. The fire hose reel snaps from the wall and follows John off the roof. He manages to shoot through a window and land before it falls, but after it passes his floor, the weight of the reel starts to pull him out of the window. He manages to untie the hose in time. Now, how much internal damage do you think he realistically would have suffered from this?
And then the other thing is, if any of us in that situation and we're trying to undo, a fire hose that's tied round, we're losing our pants at this point as well. There's no way.
100%.
That's the other cut. That's
probably losing a little bit more than my pants along with it too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because I was a volunteer firefighter for a while, and fire hoses are heavy.
Yes.
Very, very heavy. So yeah.
It's 80s, different time, different fire hoses.
Different era of fire hose. It's those Japanese engineered fire hoses, you know?
They're lighter.
The helicopter falls and explodes. The 30th, explodes the 30th and surrounding floors. I have no idea what that's supposed to say there. I apologize. Setting the foyer on fire. The elevator is affected by the blast and blows out the wall of the 30th floor. John follows his wife's screams to the vault, where Hans is in a hurry to finish loading all the bearer bonds. Along the way, he notices a mail cart with tape and other supplies and discovers he only has 2 bullets left. In the garage, Argyle notices Theo unloading an ambulance from the back of the courier truck. He rams the ambulance with his limo and then rushes to the car and punches out Theo.
No respect for his professional property here.
At all.
He's fired, dude.
He's definitely fired, right? Yeah, 100%.
Halfway to Vegas.
As Christoph runs runs a stack of bonds down the hallway, John knocks him out. He slowly walks down the hallway toward Hans, Eddie, and Holly. Hans holds a gun to Holly's head and orders John to drop his weapon. Eddie picks up another machine gun. He just randomly, out of nowhere. But Hans instructs him not to shoot. Hans mocks John for being a cowboy and points his gun toward him. John holds his hands behind his head and starts laughing, and Hans and Eddie join in, knowing his situation is futile. At the moment, John grabs his handgun, which is taped to his back, fires one shot at Eddie. Yes, 100%. This is one of the most badass moments for sure. Killing him, and another at Hans, hitting him in the shoulder. Hans falls out the window, but manages to hold on to Holly's new Rolex. Hans slowly aims his gun at Holly, but John manages to unclasp the watch, sending Hans plummeting to the ground.
Talk about symbolism.
And then
Right.
this
Mhm.
Oh, do you want a
slow
fun fact for this one?
of Hans. Go for it.
So the look in his face, that look of fear is real. So they actually let him go early
Oh,
when he was falling. And the guy's like, he hated it, but it was worth it for the shot. So
oh, that's funny.
that's why that shot looks so good.
Alan Rickman, what an actor.
Oh, he's so
Yes,
good.
may
This
he
is his
rest in
first big
peace.
breakout role.
Um,
The glass.
in the
That's
rubble
a-
outside, in the rubble outside, John meets Al, and they both hug and thank each other. Robinson approaches and chews out McLean for the damage of the building. A not quite dead Carl arises
He
to
does.
screams and aims a gun at John and Holly. Everyone falls to the ground by Al, who fires his sidearm, killing Carl. Argyle
third
rams.
time. So-
Right.
Yeah, there was this backstory that we got when John and Al were talking on the CB radio. He's like, dude, I fucked up. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I shot a kid. You did what? Yeah, I
Right.
shot a kid. He was like 13. I didn't know what the dude was going on. He had a super soaker in his hand, but I blasted him away. I took
I
it.
like to think it's because Al has a cutoff point, you know, age.
Use your job. Ben, do you reckon if you were a cop and you shot a kid, you'd still keep your job?
No, I'm gone. My life is over at that point. I couldn't.
How many
do that.
Twinkies did you buy at the office for an apology? Like,
Oh,
dudes, I fucked
So,
up. Yeah, Twinkies for
least-
everybody.
at least 80, you know.
Absolutely.
The other thing too of the scene is just the amount of paper. I've got here, there's so much paper, the most amount of paper you've ever seen. And then apparently Nakatomi Plaza is a division of Dumbledore
All the
Mifflin. So that was the
paper.
reference that we've got there. It's so
The most
much paper. For the last 5 minutes of that movie, there's just paper just falling. And like, where is all this paper? I know it's
like
Yeah.
LA snow.
it's just like that. How is that possible? How can it fall for it's almost 10 minutes, right?
It rains bearer bonds. That's what it's
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what they are? Are they the bearer bonds? Is that what they
No one
Very
knows what they are, so
you
they're
see people
just
running around trying to get them, trying to pick them up.
We've got the most paper. On the way, Argyle rams his limo through the garage's gate, and John and Holly walk towards his limo.
I mean,
On
the
the
gate-
way,
just decided to ram it. He's like, right, I fucked this car up enough.
yeah,
Let's just go.
let's just do it. Whatever.
Mhm.
I'm already losing my job. Who cares?
Who cares about Grand Theft Auto, you know, at this point? Let's just take it to Vegas.
On the way, they are stopped by Thornburg for an interview. Holly punches him in the face, and the couple continue to the limo, kissing as Argyle drives away from a damaged and burning Nakatomi Plaza.
Which is
Oh,
The end.
By the way,
the
Fox
end.
Plaza.
By the way, what?
It's the Fox Plaza.
Mm.
Oh, is that the real thing?
That is the real Fox Plaza. So much damage done to Fox property.
Oh,
Like, so
wow.
never to be seen until Disney took over.
Funny.
It
That's
was
awesome.
also under construction at the time too, which is pretty cool.
And they
That
had
is
to
kinda cool.
negotiate with the shot, like the shot that they did with the car exploding and everything took like hours, the days of negotiation with Fox just to be able to do that, just to allow them to do that.
Wow.
Crazy.
Thank you so much for the recaps. Great recaps there, Vitz and Phil. Thank you.
Same to you, mate. Right back at you.
So, should we get into the fun segments that we've got planned? So,
Heck
first
yeah.
off,
Extra fun, ladies and gentlemen.
first up, we have best hair. So, I want to know. Let's kick it off with Erica first. Erica, who has the best hair in Die Hard?
Okay, so this was difficult for me, but I really think I'm giving it to Carl.
I fully agree with this.
Fantastic hair
think
throughout,
so, too.
no matter what happens. It's beautiful. It's blonde. It's flowy. Even when he's swinging across that top floor from the chain and coming back down somehow at the end, it's just perfect. He has
100%.
fantastic hair.
100%. I think the first scene we see him in properly is when they're first storming the building and interrupting the party, and he goes into one of the side offices, and there's two co-workers, and they're getting it on. But all you can think about is this dude's hair. It's
Yeah, I didn't like naked girl wear. No, it's
absolutely.
There is one of the robbers that looks like a Fabio. I know, but I don't know what happened to him. Did he die or did he just peace out? Did he just take off at the start? That's where we don't see him much.
Who's bald but still grew it out at the back? He has fabulous hair too.
Exactly. So much great hair. And what about you, Phil? Who's your pick for favorite hair in Die Hard?
I like to. I'm gonna go like with Hans. I just love that kind of like side part, like gone back mid-length, kind of almost mullet but not mullet thing he has going on.
It's incredible.
And
that haircut mixed with his accent makes Alan Rickman too powerful.
It's got so much volume for the style of hair that he's going with. It's just great. It's fantastic.
And with a little bit of highlights.
Yeah.
And what about you, Al?
Oh, mine goes to Holly for sure. The 80s female mullet.
Yes. Oh, good pick. Good pick.
Very nice.
That's a good one. I like it.
That's a power move.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
Of course she did. Yeah.
Well, it is 3-2, so we're gonna have to go with Carl on this one.
Who was your pick, my friend?
I was going to lock in Carl too. I thought Carl's hair was fantastic. So we'll go with Carl on that one. So best hair in Die Hard officially goes to Carl. Congratulations, Carl.
Yay, Carl.
So next up, we have best and worst accents in the movie. I want to hear. Let's go with Phil first up. Who do you think's got the best and worst accent in the movie, Phil?
Again, I'm gonna go with the classic answer of Hans Gruber.
Yep, for both.
Yeah, for both best and worst.
Please don't hurt me. No.
It's so funny.
When I try to do American accent, it's hi. It's one of them.
Spot on, that's spot on.
It's so funny.
I was going to put the exact same thing, Hans Gruber for best and worst. And what about you, Erica?
I mean, I think it's a shoo-in for Hans. He is the best and the worst accent because the German accent is fantastic and his American accent is awful.
I think we're looking at a clean sweep here.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't hard for John to tell that there's something up with this guy. Either he's been kicked in the head by something, or is clearly Hans putting on a bad accent, And what about Al? Al, what do you got down there, buddy?
Hans again for sure. 100%.
Clean sweep.
Nice. So Vince, do we even need to ask you?
Hans all the way. Hans wins this twice.
It's a lock. It's a lock there. Congratulations, Hans Gruber. At least you won this. You may not have got those bearer bonds, but hey, at least you won our hearts and this award.
We're giving an award. We're giving him an actual award, then.
Not a physical award, but
It's good. We should
give him a physical Schmitty statue.
Oh, that's a great segue into the next one, which is actually the douchebag jar, which is normally what we do over at the pod.com on our New Girl interview. We're going to introduce it here as well, because there's definitely some douchey moments of some people in this movie. So douchebag jar. Look, for me personally, I'm going to have to go with. Look, it's got to be Alice for me. I mean, there's some horrible people, some extremely douchebag moments from a lot of people, but for me, yeah, Alice. That line of "It's a Rolex." it's just got to go to him. Obviously, is it Thornberg? Is it the news anchor? Some great moments there, and clearly Johnson and Johnson have some pretty appalling lines, as well as the I don't know who he is, the lead detective, whoever this guy is that comes to try and take from Al Powell, but.
I was gonna say, don't forget the police chief.
Deputy.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's got to be Alice for me. But what about you? Let's go with Al. Al, who you got down here for?
Go foul.
That's our name, Phil. That's our combined celebrity name.
So fun fact.
I love that.
People think that Al and I sound exactly alike, and I love it. It's a great running joke that we have. So we're just foul now.
It really is cute.
You're just slowly merging together. I love it.
But yeah, Harry Ellis, 100%.
Yeah.
If anything, just for the ethnic slurs that he drops in like one sentence.
Dude.
One sentence full
That
of
line's
like,
rough.
Yikes on that one.
yep.
Whew, yeah, that was tough. And what about you, Phil?
I think we might have another clean sweep on this one. I don't know how you could choose anyone other than Harry in this category, man.
He's such an asshole.
He goes above and like, what else has this man been in since Die Hard?
I can't do anything. He peaked there.
I feel like this might have been one of those career-ending moments.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I kind of wish they would actually cast him in every like role like that. Like he plays the role so well. He's just such an ass.
Man.
And what about you, Vince?
I mean, there's no getting away with Harry Ellis in this one, and even from the fact that he does a line of coke off somebody else's desk and then doesn't clean up afterwards.
So inconsiderate.
It's inconsiderate more than anything. Harry Ellis,
When
you
you coke on my desk, get lean clean up after yourself.
absolutely.
Exactly. It sounds like Erica. That sounds like you're going for Ellis as well.
I mean, okay, so I did write down a line just like we do in the other show. So it's, hey babe, I negotiate $1 million deals for breakfast. I think I can handle this Euro trash. And
That sounds like a winner to me.
so gross. Like, I want to take a shower.
So I want to point out his name,
There's
his
so many lines.
his real name is Hart Bachner, and he's still acting.
He's
His
like
last
Ryan
role was 2019, and I have no idea who any of these characters are.
That sounds about right.
It also said cocaine in Die Hard was real cocaine. It wasn't a prop.
I like to think he was just there, eh? And they're just like, "What are you doing in our abandoned office?" Oh well, it's just Hammond filming in the background. It's okay.
Then he started saying some outlandish stuff, and the director was like, "Hey, can we get some of those on camera? We'll just
Yeah,
cut
let's
him
get
into
this
the
guy in
movie."
here.
Then they put him in enough shots where they're like, "Okay, he deserves to die in this movie. Let's do it."
And then he just disappears after the movie's filmed, and no one's seen him again.
He was in Mask of the Phantasm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, Alice. You are the winner of the douchebag jar this week. Congratulations. That's normally a spot that goes to Nolly Schmidt. So that's a
Coveted prize.
exactly.
And let's be fair, I'm pretty sure everything Schmidt does in the entirety of New Girl is not as bad as like some of these lines that he has.
I agree.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I think he's the most hated and the only unlovable cokehead in an 80s movie.
Han
probably-
Bubby,
Absolutely.
I'm your white knight.
Yeah,
So good. It's so good and so bad.
Oh
Oh
god.
yeah, he has bubby, which is a Yiddish word, right after he
Bubby.
used an ethnic slur for Jews.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
beautiful, right there.
Yeah.
totally.
The only cocaine rival him ever out of RoboCop, but maybe we'll get to that series in the future.
Ellis promptly snorted some cocaine and insultingly asked one of the terrorists if he sprechen Sie talk. Oh.
Now, for our next further segment, so it's probably won't take too long, but we're going to call this one Pie Hard. And this is where we want to know everyone's favorite pies. So I'm going to kick off with apple pie. Apple pie is my favorite. To me, it's the goat. But what about you, Phil? What's your favorite pie, buddy?
Oh, I have some unfortunate news. I'm not much of a pie guy. Oh no.
Phil, how do we kick people out of this now?
Can I just say like a chocolate cream pie? Will that work?
Yeah, well, yeah, dude, that's pie. That's okay.
Absolutely.
You go for that. You do you, mate.
Okay, I'm gonna throw that out there. Okay.
Key lime,
It's
key
okay.
lime.
Key lime pie for you, Al.
I'm
Ooh.
trying to see if maybe Phil would, because that's a good pie that even non-pie lovers will usually love.
Ooh.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
And what about you, Al?
shepherd's pie for sure.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's a good pick.
whoa.
It's a game changer.
Meat
Meat
pies are
Yeah, we're talking.
very different
No, meat
from,
pies are
from
pies, dude.
dessert pies.
Still a
Okay.
pie.
No, you can go meat pie.
What do you
Oh
want?
yeah, baby. Let's do it. You got me there. I'm there, baby.
I don't think I've ever seen the Phil this excited. What pie are you going with then, Phil? What are you changing to?
I'm absolutely going for like chicken pot pie, shepherd's
Yes.
pie, meat
That's-
pie. You put some protein in my pie. I'm there, baby.
We've gone from I don't like pies to I can't decide what pie I want. We're gonna put Phil down for all the pies. We're gonna put Al down for shepherd's pie. It's a great choice. What about you? What about you, Vince?
Yes, I'm going to go apple pie as well, but I'm going to put a bit of variation on it. So apple
Ooh.
crumble is my all-time favorite.
Oh, that's a good choice. Yeah,
Ooh.
I'll allow
Right.
it. Even though it's a crumble, I'll allow
Thank you.
it. And what about you, Erica?
My favorite pie is lemon meringue pie.
Ooh, I like it.
That's beautiful.
It's like
Shout
I'm
out to
family.
pies.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
pie.
Is there actually a bad pie? I don't know. You know?
I
Actually,
don't
you
know.
know what? Fish
Pie.
pie. No, I can't get down with fish pie.
Okay.
I can't
That's
get down with
good.
apple pie, but let's pretend you guys didn't hear that.
Oh, no.
I'm not a dessert pie guy. That's what we just found out.
That's fair.
Dessert pie
had-
guy
I
sounds like
did
a great
have
restaurant.
Pie yesterday.
Nice.
People, did you? Nice.
Did-
That's awesome. See, it's topical. Yeah. Well, shout out to
Well-
pies. That's pie hard. Alrighty. So the next one might be slightly controversial. So we have: is Die Hard a Christmas movie, and why or why not? I'm
Wait,
gonna
I
kick
thought
off.
it was. Is Christmas a Die Hard movie?
Well, if that's the direction you want to take it, we might kick off with Phil. Then, do you want to elaborate that on that, Phil?
Oh, it was just you when you were titling the subject earlier. It's what you said, so I thought that was the title of the segment.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
In the pre-show, the
Roll
pre-show,
That was a long time ago.
you said is Christmas a Die Hard movie, and I was like, that's the best. I love that.
So, Phil, for you, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And if so, why? If not, why not?
So I'm one of those people that will kind of go with whatever way the crowd wants to go on that topic because I'd rather be non-controversial about it. I'll just kind of be like, sure, it's a Christmas movie if everyone else here thinks it's a Christmas movie. No, it's totally not a Christmas movie if everyone here thinks it's not a Christmas movie, because I don't like those sorts of conflicts. But I will say that growing up, like,
What a cop out.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I will say, growing up, I never really thought of Die Hard as a Christmas movie. I never really thought of Gremlins as a Christmas movie. They were more movies that kind of took place in the Christmas setting, but weren't necessarily what I considered like a holiday or Christmas movie.
Phil,
Okay.
do you consider Home Alone a Christmas movie?
Again, I feel like the holiday may be the backdrop for that movie, but it's not necessarily a Christmas movie.
That is
Gotcha.
a politician's answer right there.
You said an apologist answer?
You should work for PR. You should be the official unofficial PR. What about you, Vince?
I will say that Thank You for Smoking is one of my favorite movies because of how amazing
Great
he,
movie.
is at spinning things in that film.
And what about you, Vince? What do you think, buddy?
100%. I know
Yeah.
this movie came out in the middle of summer, but it doesn't matter. It's all about Christmas.
Exactly.
I will go so far as to say, not only is it a Christmas movie, it is the greatest Christmas movie.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
I agree with that 100%.
Why I
I will
asked it to
also
be
add
on.
to that, it is the greatest action movie. Just hands down.
Gas.
That's
I
great.
know I'm going to get a lot
Wait,
of flack.
no, wait, you haven't seen John Wick yet, so you can't say that yet.
That's better than John Wick, though.
It is better. I
Are
think
we
I
gonna
can
do John
say
Wick in
that.
review?
Let's do it.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
No,
And what
but
about you, Erica?
Note though, just on a serious note, I actually do love Die Hard as an action movie, and it was the first time I like fell in love with an action movie, and it wasn't just, you know, violence porn or however you may want to put it. Sorry.
Die Hard's definitely in my top 5 action films. It rotates between my favorite, and you know, it can change on any given day. But I respect that, buddy. That's a good choice. And what about you, Erica? What do you think? Christmas movie, not Christmas movie?
So since this movie came out in the 80s, which means it's been out for at least 20 years.
Yes.
And it's still prevalent to this day, makes it a classic automatically.
100%.
Yes.
People are still talking about it constantly. And it is always in the discussion of, is this a Christmas movie? And I think it is a Christmas movie.
There we go.
Yay! Christmas
movie, there it is.
by Run DMC. It is one of the best Christmas songs ever, and it needs to be played more often.
Just every time, you know, whenever you're listening to music, just play it.
Yeah, guys, Die Hard is a great Christmas movie. Absolutely. 100% Christmas movie.
Damn it, Phil.
We only had to kick you out of the video chat.
I'm gonna vote for yes, it is a Christmas movie too.
Christmas in you is you. I can't talk.
No.
But
Run DMC's in town.
Run DMC, right, all the way.
Nice.
I mean, it's definitely not a kids' Christmas movie, but the adults need Christmas movies too.
Exactly.
And this is an adult Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So the production designer on the movie is quoted for saying, Die Hard is not ununique in that it doesn't date. Fred Astaire doesn't date. John Ford doesn't date. In time, this is going to look like a wonderful period movie like those films we loved that we all grew up watching on TV, and I agree wholeheartedly.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
I
And
want to say,
like I said, it came out in the middle of summer, but that means it just released on VHS at Christmas time. Perfect.
Exactly.
I just want to say real quick that you guys said it might be the best Christmas movie, but I have to disagree. I think that Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell is the best Christmas movie, if only for his singing portion when he's in the prison cell singing Santa Claus is Back in Town. And if you haven't seen it, you need to.
It is great.
Okay, I know what I'm watching tonight now.
Now, I believe Christmas Chronicle 2 is out as well.
It is, yeah. It just came out.
I've not seen it.
You need to at least watch the first one.
Can I ask, does Kurt Russell have his Kurt Russell hair in this movie?
Dude, he's as Kurt Russell as Kurt Russell could possibly be as Santa Claus. It's the best.
He's just woken up and put a Santa suit on. That's the Kurt Russell you're getting.
Yes.
Now, I will say, Kurt Russell is like probably the like what in the top echelon of like actors for me.
I mean, he plays Snake as well.
He what?
He played Snake in Escape from New York, didn't he?
That's right. Snake Plissken. So yeah, whether it's The Thing, whether it's Escape from New York, I don't know about you, but I'm Snake Plissken. And I just want to say that you're pretty good.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's great. And I'm gonna lock in yes for Christmas movie. I think the way they sort of they kind of almost build the movie around Christmas. Like obviously the references, the music, and even going back to the first writer's sort of comments around what it's actually all about. It's actually about John and his wife and that happening there. And the fact that they've chosen Christmas as the time to, I guess, come together and try and repair their relationship. I think, yeah, exactly. It's all about family, you know, and terrible bowl cuts. So
Yeah.
But I think absolutely. I mean, this is a movie that I get together with friends and watch every year. I watch it normally twice, once with friends, once with family.
So
it's so Christmassy. There's Christmas everywhere, and it's not just like some movies where it just takes place at Christmas. I think Christmas is actually a character of this movie, and I think that's the difference. So I think like Home Alone, like Die Hard, I would classify them as Christmas movies, but I'm also like, hey, if you don't think it is, that's cool. You do you. It's cool. But for me personally, it is a Christmas movie.
As Brooklyn Nine-Nine quoted said, and on the show they said, Home Alone is like Die Hard for kids.
Yes,
exactly. Love it.
The Christmas movie then.
So according to this panel, Die Hard, a Christmas movie. Love it.
Totally a Christmas movie, 100%. No
Yeah.
disagreement.
Now, the next segment I'm very excited for is, has Erica seen that movie? So, you may or may not know from listening to our shows that Erica has not seen a lot of movies. So we're all going to take a guess as to whether Erica had actually seen Die Hard before this viewing or not. So I'm going to say that Erica had not seen Die Hard before this time. So what about you, Vits?
I'm going to say yes, but very,
Nice.
very long time ago.
Love it. Phil, what about you, buddy?
It's really hard for me to think that maybe not the entire movie, but like at some point that she had seen a part of this on, whether it was on TV, whether it was in the background of a scenario, because this thing has been on TV in the zeitgeist of people's lives for such a long time. Like, I have to think that if she hadn't seen all of it, she'd at least seen parts of it prior to this viewing.
Okay, cool. You love that fence, don't you?
Slippery answers.
What about you, Al?
I totally agree with Phil. I don't have as many words, but
I've written them out. I don't know about you.
I can spin just about anything into at least 4 paragraphs. It just depends on how long you want me to talk and how much you want me to say. Because I will keep going,
right there.
and we will never stop. We can keep the train rolling for as long as you want me to.
But yeah, I believe
I love
has
the
at
word
least
zeitgeist,
seen.
by the way.
All right, Erica, put us out of our misery. Have you seen Die Hard before or not?
Okay, so it was funny. I was talking to my mom the other night about us doing this review, and she's talking, going, "Oh man, Die Hard's fantastic. I love this movie so much." We were talking about how she had the VHS and how I vividly remembered the cover of it, all this stuff. And I went, I don't think I've ever watched the movie. And she laughed and she's like, "Oh, you had to have seen it, but I don't think I would have let you watch it when you were little." And the first time I've ever watched Die Hard the whole way through was this morning.
Yay! I called it.
And you are correct.
I would like to say the whole way through were words used
The
in
whole
that
way through.
sentence. So I am not wrong either. This is why I walk the fence.
Bits and pieces, and I did try to watch it last night, but I did do my thing of I fell asleep a half hour into it, which we all know I do.
Yep. You don't remember hearing Yippee Melon Farmer as a kid? How about Yippee Mr. Falcon?
Ooh.
Love it.
But I have never sat down and went, "I'm watching Die Hard," until this morning.
Wow.
So, I've never watched it until today. I've never watched it for the purpose of watching it until this review. So, yay! That was a recurring segment for every movie we watch.
That's going to be great. I look forward to it.
I'm so excited.
All right, now,
Watch new movies.
now
we
for the
have
final.
Back
Oh,
to
sorry,
the
go.
tryhards.
The Triads.
What?
Yeah.
Ooh, go for
Try
it, buddy.
Hard.
What's that about?
This is TV shows that parodied Die Hard, and maybe after watching it for this review, you might want to go back and rewatch these parodies and see a few more bits and pieces in them. There's the Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode, "The Gang Gets Held Hostage," with Danny DeVito playing a very demented version of John McClane. There's
God
Bob-
bless.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's the one with the McPoyles surrounding them in the bar. It's
That's
fantastic.
great.
There's the Bob's Burgers episode, "Work Hard or Die Trying." Fantastic musical version of Die Hard. Go back and watch that after watching the movie. You'll have a blast. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there are too many episodes to name.
Oh my
But-
God, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when they go to Dr. Tommy Plaza.
So that's my list of tryhards.
So
I'm
many
gonna have to
good
go with
ideas.
I'm gonna have to go with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That was so good.
I have an episode from there's a couple references from the
yes.
offices. Yes, I
Yes.
can't talk. The Office. When Michael leaves, they do a parody of Seasons of Love, and they put in the line, "That's like watching Die Hard 80,000 times."
Yeah.
And there is a character named Pete later in this show, and he talks about memorizing the entire script on a dare, and he has a copy or two in his car.
Nice. Yeah, because
Oh, good.
the cover of Die Hard is, what's the line at the top? It's 40 stories of, it's either excitement or awesome or amazing. It's something like that.
I'll have to look that up.
But what a movie.
Oh,
Oh,
also,
yeah.
John McClane and Bruce Willis, neither of them are on WikiFeet, just so you know, Bits.
Yep, I went and checked that too.
Neither-
Yep. No,
neither
no.
did
I'm
I.
glad I'm
They-
not the only
I
All
checked
right.
Bruce Willis too, thinking, oh, we'll see some
Real-
feet.
Real quick, it's Christmas Eve in LA, and the party action's about to explode. On the 40th floor, suspense, excitement, adventure on every level. 40
Wow.
stories high with suspense, excitement, and adventure on every level.
Nailed it, Vince.
It is 40 stories of sheer adventure.
That's the one Fitz was asking for.
That's the one. You got
I'm
the
just
40
saying,
stories though, so I'm proud.
That's what was in the tagline section.
Oh, it sounded great, Phil.
It sounded fantastic.
It's great.
All right, thank you very much for that segment there. And we will just go into our final thoughts, reviews, and I want to know everyone's favorite MVP. Now, the MVP section, we are going to call Yippee-Ki-Yay, I'm glad they were in this movie. And that comes to you by Ringboy Mason on Twitter. Thank you, Ringboy Mason. So let's kick it off. Phil, what are your final thoughts on the movie? What's the review and who's your MVP?
I really enjoy this movie. But I'm also one of those people that might argue that Live Free or Die Hard is a better movie. And that is just, in my opinion, because it speaks to me as like a techie kid. I loved everything about Live Free or Die Hard. And so going back to and watching this movie again, really solidifies it as one of the best action movies of all time, though I can't quite agree with Al that it is the best action movie of all time. But it is still at least 4 out of 5 Schmitties for me.
Love it. Love it. And who's your MVP?
Argyle, for sure.
That was great. It's a great pick.
There's, as Vitz was saying earlier, there's some things he says in this movie that I just can't agree with in today's political climate, but his character, the way he projects himself and like how animated he is, and just his character overall is just a lot of fun. And that's just so we know, his name is Devereaux White.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's in that doco. Definitely check it out. He's fantastic. Love it, buddy. And what about you, Al? What are your final thoughts on Die Hard as a whole? What's your review? And who is your MVP?
I joked about, that was a joke, Phil, about it being the greatest action movie of all time, but it was honestly.
That's close. That's close, though.
It's close. It's close. It really is. It's the first action film I saw and thought, you can do action films like that, and actually, like, it's cinema, for lack of a better douchey term, I think. And I didn't think action movies could be that. I don't know. I think the cinematography, there's a lot of European influences that maybe we haven't seen before in American film. And There's just a lot going on, just like a lot of different elements. The little bit of comedy. It's a great movie, and it's a fantastic Christmas movie that puts you in the Christmas spirit, whether you want to admit it or not.
There you go.
Love it, buddy. And did we get your MVP there?
Oh, my MVP would have to be.
Here comes
Holly again.
Holly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's great. Nice. And what about you, Vets? Final thoughts, buddy? MVP?
I love this movie. Sure, it has a little bit of issues, but the pacing is really strong. It's never dull. It just keeps going at a high lick of rates. And MVP for me has to be Al Powell. I think purely from
Nice.
looking after McClane's mental health while he's up there and just having someone to talk to while he's all alone trying to fight all these goons. Extra shout out to him and the amount of Twinkies that man can carry.
Now, is
That's
that
impressive.
with him shooting a little boy? You're okay with that?
I mean, he redeemed himself by shooting the fellow at the end. He
Yeah, but
hadn't
that's what
fired
he
his gun since.
He didn't do it until the end, though.
Why is the little boy running around the streets with a ray gun in his hand?
This is what the parents need to be asked. Why are you giving these children bowl cuts and why are you letting them running around? with ray
It was
guns
the
in their hand?
80s, yeah?
Why are you letting them run around? That is the quote of the day. Why are you letting children run around? Put them in cages. Wait, that's a horrible joke. I'm really sorry for that
You haven't
one.
seen Borat 2 yet, have you?
Oh no, I haven't.
Jump back on the fence, my friend. Jump back on the fence.
That's a great choice there. Let's go over to Erica. Erica, what were your thoughts on this very first viewing of Die Hard for you? And who was your MVP?
So, yeah, I actually almost slipped up earlier, and I was like, when I was like, "Christmas in Hollis is the greatest Christmas song I've ever heard," and I'm like, "Oh, I hope that didn't give it away that this was my first time watching this movie." I love this movie. It was fantastic, and I'm a little sad that I waited so long to watch it. Honestly, from my art brain, like, oh my gosh, that lighting that they use there is fantastic, and Hans Gruber is the perfect villain, and Alan Rickman played such a fantastic villain. And I was thinking about this while I was watching it, and like back to the lighting and everything. It was in the elevator scene, and the lighting that they used shooting up towards them, and the shadowing on his face when they were talking about the suits. It was just perfect. And it's his nose, which is silly to say, but really just the way that it creates the dramatic shadows and the lighting and just everything was perfect. And it just really calmed my art student side of me.
There we go.
Yeah, it really has
I
no
just- I
business
did.
being shot that artistically well for an action movie. I
You know what
agree.
other movie doesn't
No
deserve to
business
be
to
shot
like
that well?
in an elevator,
Yep.
but it did it, and it was perfect, and I just loved it. But yeah, like he was perfect.
So if you're
Um,
into
Yeah, I just
other films where Alan Rickman is the bad guy and does it really well despite the rest of the movie being not that great, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He
Yes.
is an
I
awesome
love
show.
that one I have seen.
Yeah,
So
and you've been subjected to to Kevin Costner's.
Well, now we
Yeah.
can't do the segment on if we know you've seen it.
I just won't tell anybody. Cut that part out.
Done.
Um, so honestly, even though I was gonna go with Argyle with my MVP, but I'm going Hans.
I love that. That's great.
Nice.
That's a great pick.
I love a great, good bad guy, and he was the perfect bad guy in this movie because he wasn't overly jerky. He was like just that perfect amount of kind of twisted and still knew what he wanted to do.
His
And,
performance. was
He's going to
incredible.
be my MVP.
Nice. And have you got any other final thoughts on the movie?
Phil seems to think another action movie was shot just as well, if not better.
No, not just as well or better. But but a movie that was shot really like better than it deserved to be was Predator 2. Like, I think Ben can get behind me on this one. That there are scenes in that movie that are just shot really well for the caliber of movie that is. I want to say, like it's not definitely not in the same league as Die Hard for sure. But it's just for some reason there's shots in that movie that are just like, wow, that was shot really well.
Well, if we do Predator, I guess I know who we have to have on.
There we go.
Definitely got to have Al. Oh god! And any other final thoughts, Erica?
Nope. This was a good Christmas movie. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, I have to go. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and an absolute amazing Christmas movie. But I think the movie's got a lot of heart and a lot of humor, which is really good. You didn't see that in a lot of movies back then. And there's actually a good story about how, with the original script that they were trying to do rewrites, and I think Bruce Willis's people were saying, look, he doesn't want to do any more rewrites. And then somehow it came about where they talked about wanting to add some more humor. He's like, oh, I'm down for that. Yeah. And then they added a whole bunch of rewrites. They added a whole bunch of the little fun lines of dialogue. But, I think everyone just really all these actors really brought their A game. Like everyone from, like, say, Alice just being that lovable ass. Just such a douche. And Hans, like, say, playing that role with such swagger and, yeah, just seeing that sort of different side of a villain that we didn't necessarily see before. And then obviously John, kind of that hero that, I don't know if you know him. Once again, this isn't the documentary, you should check it out. But there was a lot of hesitation about putting him in that role because originally they'd approached all the big stars like Stallone and all those, Schwarzenegger, they had all said no to it. They didn't want to put Bruce in there because at the time he was just on TV and he wasn't seen in that kind of role. And then people actually laughed when the first cut came out and they saw the trailer and it was Bruce Willis. People actually laughed at the thought that he was an action star and now look. So
the moon star.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, but yeah, it's like, so I think it's got so many amazing moments, so many standout lines, and I think, like you said earlier, Al, it is timeless to me, and it's shot so incredibly well considering the circumstances they had to shoot it in. Shooting on the fly without the ending of a script and some of the turmoil that actually went and actually coming up with that script and post production, and even the stories about how the helicopters, they were meant to have hours and hours and hours to shoot some of those scenes, but in the end they were getting shut down, so they had 20 minutes and they just managed to scrape in and get the shot. But yeah, there's so many talented people that worked on this movie, and it really shows. I love it. Like I said, it's got so much heart, so many great characters, and so many great moments. So yeah, love it. If we're giving it Schmitties out of 10, I'm giving it 10 Schmitties out of 10. So that's me there. And MVP for me is Paulina. So she made the bed up already. She already preempted that. She's trying to protect those kids. Love it. Paulina, shout out to you. And that is the end of the show. So
for Paulina having a conversation with her in mostly Spanish, but Holly's like, nope, I'm just going to keep shouting you in English.
Exactly. She's great, dude. Yeah, everyone in the movie is fantastic. So yeah, just wanted to give some love to Paulina because everyone else had some too. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming on the show. Vitz, Phil, Erica, Al, it's been fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for watching and supporting the Official Unofficial. We love it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out other stuff. Obviously, we do New Girl in Review, we do other reviews, we do table reads. Check it all out over on the YouTube page, or like I say, head over to theoupod.com. Yeah, so my name is Ben. Vitz, where can people find you, buddy?
At Vitz Patel on Twitter and PSN, and then at twitch.tv/Vitz Patel, coming soon.
Oh, there's going to be some fun stuff on there. Can't wait. And what about you, Phil? Where can people find you, Phil?
People can find me at Phil J. Woodward on Twitter. That's pretty much where I'm at. You can also check out Simply Sassy Vids on YouTube. We're doing a lot of cool stuff over there. Stay tuned. Don't forget to check out the oupod.com for random appearances of myself. And I just want to say, stay Schmitty.
Hell yeah, buddy. Love it. What about you, Al? Anything to add there? Where can people find you?
SimplySassyVids.com, pretty much.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And Erica, where can people find you?
Hey, I'm at Ambelina on Twitter. And then find me here at the OU Pod.
And I hear you also stream at twitch.tv/Ambelina.
Yeah, sometimes when the internet doesn't hate me here.
When the mood strikes right and the internet's good.
Yeah, right when the stars align. And
Just makes it special.
These are the right tide.
You can
And
see
nice
the.
train.
Too bad that people can't see the lovely Christmas sweater that you have on that
I'm
we
very
got a glimpse
sad.
of. But I'm gonna put it right here. So there it is.
Love it.
Okay, I'm gonna take a nice picture because my makeup looks good and my hair was nice, and I should have known there was gonna be technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Love it. Well, thank you so much, everyone. That has been our Die Hard in review. Like I say, the OU pod for all our stuff. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. And until next time, keep it
Love you
unofficial.
guys.